But I believe there was a bit of a seminal moment for you when somebody sent you some art equipment, and from them I think you were even more enthusiastic about it and painted quite a lot. Can you tell us about that?
Well, what happened was I was a kid playing with my mates, as we all did in those days, out on the street, and the word came to me on the jungle wire that this particular parcel had been sent to me from America. One can't imagine how exciting that was. I come from a Jewish background, and like many Jewish families in this country, many of whom had an antecedency back into Central and Eastern Europe, they had fled with the pogroms and so on to America, and so America was the land of this golden pavements where fortunes could be earned, and it was the land of paradise, and Jewish families used to talk about this. And so to receive a parcel from America was like receiving it from heaven, if you like. I raced home like a madman to find this wonderful big parcel, and I unwrapped it, tore all the wrapping off, and it was a paint box sent to me by my uncle Fred, who lived in Miami. And I opened up this box, and it was a box of paints by a firm called Grumbacher, who were at the time German manufacturers of art material. It was unbelievable. It had every colour in you can imagine. It had all the brushes, it had all the linseed oil, the terps, the palettes, the palette knives, it had everything. And I just fell in love with it. It was wonderful. And to think that he'd gone to the trouble of finding this box in a store and sending it to me was very flattering, and I loved it. To go on and jump a few years, when I'd gotten older, I was doing my A-levels, and of course, unfortunately, my mother had passed away, and I lived with my father alone in the house. My brother had gone off to university, and I used to stay up all night painting. And my father, who one morning woke up and said, "Look, you didn't go to bed." I said, "No, I didn't go to bed. I wanted to paint." "You must go to bed. You've got school. What are you doing? Have you done your homework?" Blah blah blah. We had all that kind of conversation, and he said to me, "Well, what have you been doing?" I said, "Well, if you come round this side of the easel, you can see what I'm painting." And he said, "Okay, you've used Uncle Fred's paints, have you?" I said, "Yes, of course I have." And he looked at this painting, which was an abstract piece. I was going through my abstract period at the time. And he said to me, "Well, what's all this?" I said, "It's called Menstruation and the Sea." And he said to me, which was a phrase I'll never forget, he said to me, "That's a nice way to waste Uncle Fred's paints." And that is the artistic cultural background from whence I've come. I didn't take too much notice of that. One day my parents went down to Ealing, we lived in Greenford at the time, and they bought a picture of a flamenco dancer. They paid £2.50 for it or something like that. And they brought it home, and my father put it up on the wall in the lounge, and I swear to God he thought at that point that he'd become director of the National Gallery. So this is the background in which I've come, but I didn't let that bother me. I carried on painting.